Good evening. Many thanks for joining us. This is the news at 7 on 90 International. We're live here in Abuja. I'm Ruth, Aguele. Let's bring you the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari launches 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem. Call on Nigerians to resist destabilization acts. Nigerian government drafts new policy to guide production, processing and editing of genetically modified plants. And South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa self-quarantines as COVID-19 fatalities in Europe dwindles. President Muhammadu Buhari has made a strong case for Nigerians to desist from actions and comments that are inimical to the stability and prosperity of the country, whose strength lies in her diversity. He said Nigeria's unity has been achieved at great cost and must therefore be guarded jealously by the citizenry. Well, the president was speaking at the launch of the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem, an appeal fund, during which he donated 10 million naira in support of the war veterans as well as defendants of fallen heroes. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Apart from remembering the sacrifices of the nation's fallen heroes and veterans of the various world wars, the Nigerian Civil War, as well as peace support operations, the launch of the Emblem Appeal Fund is also an opportunity to pay tribute to the men and women currently engaged in the battle against terrorism, insurgency, and armed banditry in parts of the country. President Muhammadu Buhari said despite the coronavirus pandemic, these gallant officers and soldiers remained steadfast in the task of restoring peace and national security.
The nation remains grateful for the efforts and sacrifice of the armed forces, especially in the fight against insurgency and other internal security challenges confronting Nigeria. The unfortunate cost of the fight against insurgency and other internal security challenges is the unavoidable loss of lives of some of our officers and men of the armed forces. The reality is that the spouses and defendants of these breadwinners in most cases experience trauma and deprivation. I therefore call on all to spare a thought for them and take positive steps to come to their aid.
While pledging his continued support and that of the federal government to the Nigerian Legion, the president called on Nigerians and other residents in Nigeria to procure and wear the emblems with pride in order to identify with those who laid down their lives for the peace and security of the country. He also made a case for business enterprises to render discounts and rebates to the men and women in uniform as a symbol of appreciation for their sacrifices to the nation. The gesture, he said, will make life easier for them as well as deepen their patriotism.
We are quite aware that it is our responsibility to provide a conducive environment that is devoid of security threats. I want to reassure Nigerians that security, being one of the pillars of this administration, will continue to be at the forefront until peace and security are restored in the country. We will create an environment in which Nigerians and foreigners are guaranteed freedom and returns on investment.
The president described as pleasing that a lot has been achieved in the internal security operations in parts of the country, which led to the return of normalcy, saying government will continue to forge useful alliances towards ensuring total defeat of the security threats affecting the West African sub-region. Defense Minister Bashir Magashi assured the nation that the potentials of the ex-servicemen are enormous and can be leveraged on for national development.
Let us identify with those who daily make sacrifices, including laying their lives for peace and security in our fatherland.
Mr. President, you have cleaned the tears from all the faces of religions. You have paid everything that should be paid in terms of pensions. We don't even have to think about it. Thank you so much, sir.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day will be marked on January 15 with wreath-laying ceremonies at the various cenotaphs of the unknown soldier across Nigeria to commemorate the end of the Nigerian Civil War. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In other news, the Federal Executive Council has approved 2.9 billion naira for the printing of both sensitive and non-sensitive materials for various examinations in the country, while funds have also been approved for the enhancement of roads infrastructure in the Federal Capital Territory. Now, these approvals were announced at a media briefing after the weekly meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
The meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, was the 30th in the series for the year 2020 and 21st to be held virtually in response to the COVID-19 safety advisory. Issues relating to the development of education in the country dominated discussions following a memo by the minister in charge of the sector, Malam Adamu. Consequently, 2.9 billion naira contract has been approved for the printing of examination materials.
The material are for the basic education certificate examination, the senior secondary certificate examination, and the national common entrance. As you know, because of the recent disturbances, we have postponed the examinations that have so far not taken place.
FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello has also been granted approval to rehabilitate the road from the palace of Aguma of Gwagwalada that traverses through the premises of Radio Nigeria and to the new market road within the Gwagwalada satellite town at 900.2 million naira. Also approved is the upgrading of the 7-kilometer road from Kwali, headquarters of Kwali Area Council, to Ijafada and Bolo Road at 719.4 million naira.
These two projects are complementary to what the FCT administration is doing in terms of providing even development in the city center, which is the capital city, as well as the satellite towns, so that distribution of population and amenities can be done in line with the Abuja master plan.
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has formally inaugurated the new national chairman of the National Population Commission, Nasir Isa Kwara. Also inaugurated were 11 others as commissioners to fill existing vacancies in the commission. The brief ceremony preceded the meeting of the Federal Executive Council.
We thank Mr. President for giving us this opportunity. We promise nothing but to work diligently, to apply excellence in whatever we do, so that we can assist in managing the population census and other mandates of the Commission, so that we can move the nation ahead.
I want to assure Mr. President and the nation that we will live up to our responsibility and make the nation proud in task that is ahead of us, and our commitment is to the unity of this country.
Established in 1988, the National Population Commission is responsible for, amongst others, conducting national census in the country. Nigeria's last head count was done in the year 2006. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Well, President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to the former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma. State House correspondent again, Adamu Sambu, reports that General Danjuma's formal engagement with the President was the second in 5 months. Details of their discussions held behind closed doors were, however, not made public. General Theophilus Danjuma is the chairman Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative established by President Muhammadu Buhari. It is an advisory body for all humanitarian interventions, transformational and developmental efforts in the Northeast region of Nigeria. Government-owned media agencies must come up with innovations that will place them at par with private media outfits. This came up at the 2021 Budget Defense of Agencies under the Ministry of Information at the National Assembly. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
Broadcasting the world over is transiting from radio or TV box to mobile devices. In defense of its 2021 budget of about 7.2 billion naira, Executive Director Programs Wole Koka, acting on behalf of the Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, said NTA is working tirelessly to meet the expectations of the people in terms of new media, while ensuring that its presence is felt in all parts of the country.
We are presently on a lot of platforms. There's one we advertise every time, where you can watch us on the go. You know, wherever you are, even right here, if you have a strong internet, you can watch NTA.
The NTA management team also tabled before the committee its efforts on saving costs by engaging local satellite service provider.
Nigerian communication satellite, in compliance with the Executive Order 005. And the benefit of it, the Nigerian satellite works effectively and efficiently, and the advantage is that you pay in Naira.
On the recent NSAS protest in the country, National Film and Video Censors Board said it's doing a lot to stop movies that can trigger violence in the country.
Now we have spy police. There is a film that was supposed to be held. In the course of all these things, we have to put it down.
The committee wants the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria to justify its personnel costs with more productivity, while Voice of Nigeria clamored for a stop to proliferation of radio stations in the country.
They are chasing the same audience with us, and they can't reach where we are reaching, and they have our correspondents, and we report them on the multimedia we have today.
9 billion naira. It's a lot of money. As far as I'm concerned, we just have to be innovative, please.
As a nation, we still need a radio station, because when you are in your car, you are not able to use a mobile phone. You are not able to do anything, and most of us go into our car, we listen to radio there.
It's been proposed for 2021 fiscal.
News Agency of Nigeria also defended its 2,148 million naira proposed budgets. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
All right, let's take a moment. Go on a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Demands of #EndSARS movement. Immediate release of all arrested protesters. Justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families. Setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. In line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and property of citizens. Federal government's response. On 11th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police dissolved the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory. On October 12th, President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation, stating the disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reforms. On 13th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police ordered all defunct SARS personnel to report at Force Headquarters, Abuja, for debriefing as well as psychological and medical examination. On 13th October 2020, the Presidential Panel on the Reform of SARS accepted the 5-point demand of the #EndSARS protesters. On 15th October 2020, the National Economic Council, NEC, directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality, related extrajudicial killings with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units. State governors should immediately establish state-based special security and human rights committees to be chaired by governors in their state and to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. This will ensure the protection of citizens' human rights. Members will also include representatives of youths and civil society as well as head of police tactical units in each of the states.
What does it take to get ahead in today's world? To get your dream job, the perfect girl, even a table at your favorite dance club. It takes moving fast. It takes moving at the speed of 4G. With Intel 4G LTE, you've got it all covered. That's because you have access to super fast unlimited data that enables you move as fast as the speed of light. Now, no download is too heavy, no conversation too long. Nothing is impossible. Get Intel 4G LTE Advanced today and do so much more. Intel. Live more.
Issa too like football on Top Go TV. So they him forget say him be best man for him party wedding. Amaka disappoint her bobo all because of football. Kola and him family supposed come out, but then gas change plans because for this new football season, Go TV get correct football action will make sense. Get Go TV decoder wey come with 1 month Go TV Max subscription for only 9,500 naira. Go TV, live it, love it.
Thanks for staying tuned. The federal government has drafted a new policy to guide the production, processing and editing of genetic material in plants. This, the government believes, will provide effective gatekeeping against influx of GMO foods into the country. Let's get the details now with Musa Baba Aliyu.
1, 2, 3.
Planting, processing and importation, including export of genetically modified crops and plants, are illegal without the approval of the federal government. This is captured under the National Biosafety Application laws of the country. However, the document did not make a specific pronouncement on gene editing of plants that their DNA have been edited.
The gene editing products in other countries are not regarded as GMOs. They're regarded as non-GMOs, especially if it doesn't involve foreign DNA.
The guidelines is not only...
It is as a result of this that the federal government, with the support of NEPAD, developed a policy document that will guide researchers and scientists who will venture into gene editing of crops and plants.
If our national biosecurity is not taken seriously, it could form a great national security threat by using the use of biological agents that can be harmful to the environment and human health.
So the regulation is a welcome development to make sure that all products and their processes through which they were created are all safe.
Even though plants that their gene have been edited are not classified as GMO, however, no person or association is allowed to plant, market, process the produce without the approval of the federal government. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
All right, let's get a clearer picture of this genetic editing of plants and GMO. Our guest is senior scientist Abisabu Adamu. He's with the National Biosafety Management Agency. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, now what would you say is the difference between genetically modified organisms in crops and gene editing of plants?
Genetically modified organisms are products of modern biotechnology whose DNA are being altered in such a way that conferred on them certain unique advantageous characters that might not be achieved through conventional means. Gene editing, on the other hand, is a genetic engineering tool in which a gene or genes are inserted, deleted, modified or replaced in the genome of an organism. Now it is very important to know that some gene editing process could lead to production of GMOs, which are genetically modified organisms. But not all gene editing process resort to genetically modified organisms.
Okay, so but what does the Nigerian law say about the production and processing of gene editing, especially in plants?
Yes, in 2019, the mandate of the National Biosafety Management Agency has been enlarged to accommodate new emerging modern biotechnology, of which gene editing is one of them. Other ones include the gene drive, synthetic biology, and even biosecurity. And this has prodded the agency and has given the agency the impetus to develop some subsidiary documents to supplement the provisions in the Act, which has been passed through the Act of Parliament in 2019.
Okay, so after these new guidelines that we're, getting to learn about, how and when is the implementation going to start?
Actually, the gene editing products or gene edited products are not yet in the country at the moment, but the agency is taking a proactive step to develop these guidelines and other related documents so as to be proactive, so as not to wait until the products are available before we start struggling to regulate all these products. So at the moment, the products are not available in Nigeria, but the documents are already prepared, awaiting their coming into the country so that the implementation will start immediately.
Okay, in all, Nigerians will want to know if what is safe for consumption, very briefly. Did you hear my question, sir?
I didn't get you.
Okay, what is safe for consumption? Talking about the GMO.
Yes, they are safe for consumption, just like genetically modified organisms. But they have to be thoroughly regulated so that it cannot be used for any malicious purpose.
All right,
but if well regulated, they are safe indeed.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Abisabu Adamu. He's a senior scientist with National Biosafety Management Agency. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's bring you a global update on COVID-19. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa self-quarantines as COVID-19 fatalities in Europe dwindles despite surge in infections. Uche Ugochukwu brings us details.
Reports from South Africa says President Cyril Ramaphosa is self-isolating after a guest at a dinner he attended tested positive for COVID-19. The president's office said he is not showing symptoms and will perform his duties in isolation. 130 new cases of COVID-19 were detected in Nigeria on Tuesday, summing the country's caseload to 62,224. 57,916 patients have been treated and discharged, while 1,135 died. Africa is so far left with 276,725 active cases out of the 1,749,914 recorded coronavirus infections. Europe is seemingly drowning in the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, but recent case and fatality figures from the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control suggest that there is a glimmer of hope, as the virus appears to be killing fewer people on average. Turning attention to Asia, health officials in China's far western Xinjiang region reported 183 COVID-19 infections after completing a mass testing program of 4.74 million people on Tuesday. Indian Health Ministry says nearly half of the coronavirus cases recorded Tuesday were from 5 states where people had been celebrating local festivals. And Pakistan announced it is experiencing second wave of infections, with the number of new daily cases jumping to a range of 700 to 750. In the meantime, Wodometer Coronavirus Dashboard at 6 p.m. local time presents the global tally as 44,465,011 positive cases and 1,174,895 deaths. Thanks for staying tuned. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
And to some cheering news now. The 2020 Director General Selection Panel of the World Trade Organization has adopted the candidacy of Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. This is coming as the United States says it has not endorsed the candidature of Okonjo-Iweala despite her cross-regional support. Adebola Brooksland Sunday has more to tell us.
The race for the post began when the former Director General, Roberto Azevedo, resigned in August, a year before the end of his tenure.
7 years ago, we had a different conversation. It was the beginning of a journey. Now this is the end of a cycle.
3 stages are normally involved in the race, from nomination to campaigning and the final stage. The first round of the succession process began with 8 candidates. They are Dr. Jesus Kuri of Mexico, Abdelhamid Mado of Egypt, Tudor Uliavoschi of Moldova, Yumuhi of Republic of Korea, Amina Mohammed of Kenya, Mohammed Maziad Al-Tuwahiri of Saudi Arabia, Dr. Liam Fox of the United Kingdom, and Nigeria's Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Leadership as quickly as possible to be able to make sure the WTO contributes what it can to the multilateral trading system, and that in turn contributes to a recovery of the world economy. 5
candidates made it to the second round, after which members of the organization gave their preferences to streamline the candidates down to 2 for the final stage, seeing Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and Yumuhi emerging. After the last consultations by the 164-member organization, Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's candidature was adopted. Before now, Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala has enjoyed the endorsement of President Muhammadu Buhari, ECOWAS, African Union, and the European Union. November 7 has tentatively been slated for the official announcement of the selection. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
All the best, but let's now have a sneak peek of Thursday's weather prospect. And we're done. Thank you very much for your time. But don't forget to connect with NTA by standing against rape and rapists. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.